Good work. If we come here to start and my computer, we can see that we have the auditor CD in the CD-ROM drive. So now what we have to do is restart the computer and boot from the CD-ROM drive. So I'm going to close this and start, turn off my computer and restart. So now you want to access the boot menu. So from here we can come down here and manually select the boot from the CD-ROM drive, unless your computer is set to automatically boot from the CD-ROM drive. So if not, we will just manually select it and press enter. And now the auditor boot CD will load. So now it's going to ask for the aspect ratio. I'm going to select 800 by 600, and now it's just going to load. The beauty of the Linux Live CD is you don't have to have Linux installed on your computer at all. All that you have to do is go out on the web and download a CD, burn that CD, put it in your CD-ROM disk drive, and then restart your computer, and you could run Linux on any computer that you want. That is one of the great things about the Linux Live CDs. It's also a huge security risk because you can put these CDs in other computers and access their information, as we're going to do in this tutorial. So let it boot, and then we'll continue when we hit the KDE desktop. Once we're at the desktop, the first thing that we want to do is open the command terminal. So now that the command terminal is open, the first step that I want to do is I want to create a directory that we can save the files that we're working on. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go cd space /home /knoppix /desktop, and this will have me on the desktop. So I do mkdir, and I'm just going to create a directory called temp. And press enter. And if I minimize the command terminal, I can see there is now a folder on the desktop called temp. So excellent, now we're good to go. So after we do that, what we want to do is we want to mount the Windows hard drive, because it does not automatically do it on this live CD. So the way we're going to do that is to use the Linux mount command, mount the device of HDA1. For most systems that should be fine. And the way we can test to see if this is correct is cd space mnt /HDA1. And if we run a list, we should see the files on the hard drive as we would in Windows. We can see that we have autoexec.bat, documents and settings, Windows program files. So in this case, we're good to go. So let me get back to my folder on the desktop. Home /knoppix /desktop /temp. Alright. Perfect. So now that we've done this, we want to get the Windows system key. So we're going to do that by using the bkhive-linux command, and then it's going to be that same /mount /HDA1. And from here, we're going to get into the Windows directory. From Windows, we're going to get into the System32 directory, and then we want to get into the config directory. So then once we're in here, we'll type system. And then space. So the first argument is going to be the path. Now once we get to the path of the system file, the next argument is going to be the file that we're going to save this system key to. So I'm going to create a file called systemkey.txt. So that should work. If I type more systemkey.txt, this is the system key of the Windows XP. So that being done, what we have to do next is we have to read the SAM file using this system key. So we're basically simulating administrative authentication. And this is also going to create a dump file of all the Windows password hashes. So we're going to do sam dump to -linux, and then we're also going to do the same. Mount HDA1 Windows System32 config /SAM. In my case, it's capitalized. In most cases, it'll be capitalized. So we'll do SAM, and the next argument is going to be the system key. So systemkey.txt is where that's stored, and we're going to pipe the output to a file called hash.txt. So if I do more hash.txt, I can see here I have the Wibbit user, the test user, the salt, and the password. So we're good to go. At this point, we have to use John the Ripper to get the password. So I'm going to clear the screen. Before I can use John the Ripper, what I have to do is I have to get a dictionary file. Now, in John the Ripper, in the tutorial that we used before, we did a brute force attack, which could take a long time to discover a password. So we want to kind of eliminate that and check the dictionary before we have to resort to a brute force attack. So let's open the Conqueror, and I'm going to go to this directory, /opt. Once I'm in here, I'm going to go to the auditor folder, and once I'm in the auditor folder, I'm going to come over here to full, and once I'm in full, shared, and once we get into shared, we go into word list, and then English, and here we have a dictionary file. So I'm going to right click and copy this. And let's minimize this. Come to the desktop and click on the temp folder. Control V. Paste it right in there. So now we're good to go. Bring the shell back. And if we type ls, we can see that now there's a folder called english.txt.gz. So in order to extract this and pipe the output into a file, we're going to use this command. gunzip-c, and we're going to do english.txt.gz, pipe the output to dict.txt, so that's going to be our dictionary file. So that we now have a dictionary text file. If I come back in here to the temp directory, I can see that we have an extra file in here. The one here is called dict.txt, and it's a 36.9 megabyte file. So I'm not going to open it and show it to you because it would take a while to do that, but just trust me, there's a lot of words in that dictionary. So once I come back here to my command terminal, what I have to do is run John the Ripper and then point it to that dictionary file. So I'll do John, and it will be hash.txt, and use the option of a dictionary, so W and then dict.txt. Execute this. Hello. We have the password for the Wibbit user is hello, and the password for the test user is test. So now we have discovered the passwords. So I guess the very last step that we're going to do once you get this is to reboot the computer and test to make sure that these passwords work. So type halt into the command terminal, and the computer will reboot. Make sure that you take out the Linux boot CD so that it doesn't accidentally boot back into the Linux live operating system, and then we'll just boot right back into Windows and meet up at the login screen.